I'm thrilled. I'm such a huge fan of the Marvel Universe, so I'm just excited to be here. And it's like, the character is so funny and
Pietro, but he looks different because it's Evan Peters.
and an interesting way to do it. Like when Kevin was telling me about it, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome and hilarious and so weird.
The thing that I really love so much at the end of the journey is I think it's the first time Wanda has really accepted who she is. I'm so excited now that we've cracked open this other part of her so that there hopefully could be more stories to tell. And so I've really loved doing this show.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my video for the Wandavision bonus episode. If you didn't know, there was a bonus episode for Wandavision. It's called Marvel's Assembled, and it's basically all the extra stuff from the Wandavision series. They'll be doing the same thing for all the other future Marvel Disney Plus series. So they'll do one for Falcon and Winter Soldier, they'll do one for Loki, and all the other ones in the future. There's a whole bunch of extra Easter eggs and stuff setting up her for Doctor Strange 2 we'll break down and stuff that they revealed during it. So if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. I'll be doing Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes starting next week. That's right, Falcon and Winter Soldier starting next week. So just careful for spoilers from everything that happened on WandaVision if you haven't seen those episodes yet. But I'm mostly just going to focus on the really big stuff here. So we're talking like Evan Peters' Quicksilver character, what Evan Peters was saying about his future coming back and doing more Marvel projects in the MCU, what Elizabeth Olsen is saying about coming back for multiple future movies and Disney Plus series. So for instance, Elizabeth Olsen there talking about how the series just in general was meant to be more of a jumping off point for the real version of the Scarlet Witch character in the MCU as opposed to the Black Widow movie where the character is dead and she was a major Avengers character, but they never really gave her her own movie before they killed her off. So the Black Widow movie is more of an afterthought, like a really awesome Marvel Phase 2 movie given to you during Marvel Phase 4 for the Natasha Black Widow to pass the baton and the mantle to the Yelena Belova version of Black Widow. Whereas they designed the WandaVision series to be more like an Iron Man 1 movie for the true version of the Scarlet Witch character. Like a legit origin story in a way that they didn't fully explore her origin during Avengers Age of Ultron when you actually saw her origin story. And another really good comparison, just like in Iron Man 1, setting up the Iron Man character to be the foundation for the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he would go on to become this critical piece in all the future Avengers movies. Elizabeth Olsen, Kevin Feige, the Marvel people are saying that that's what WandaVision does for Scarlet Witch. And now it makes a lot more sense when you think about how Kevin Feige was saying her character would be one of the most important characters in the MCU during Marvel Phase 4. On a story level, the big reason for that is the way they set her up with her chaos magic and clarify how her powers work on a fundamental level. Like in previous movies, Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, you see her use her abilities, but there was that Evan Peters Quicksilver joke about her giving people nightmares and shooting red wiggly woos out of your hands. That was the WandaVision writers sort of making fun of how underdeveloped her character had been in the past. Like, what exactly is she doing to people? They never really explore that in detail or clarify or how powerful she really is. In the way you totally understand how Iron Man's powers work or how the Hulk's powers work, like gamma energy makes him stronger the madder he gets. Really simple concept. There's no limit to how strong he can get. It's just a function of rage. Or when Banner's able to make a deal with his Hulk persona and they go half and half, working together to become the Professor Hulk. So just to explain how the Marvel people are officially explaining Scarlet Witch's powers now heading into Doctor Strange 2. Her red energy is not Infinity Stone energy, so to speak. There were always questions about that during Avengers Age of Ultron, even during Avengers Endgame when she was fighting Thanos. It is related to Infinity Stone energy, which I'll explain in a second, but she is a full-blown magic user, just like Doctor Strange. That's why they call her a witch. The Scarlet Witch, though, is actually a title of a magical being prophesied in the Darkhold who will come, have near infinite cosmic power, and they will use that power to destroy the world. Now, there's a whole lot of other stuff going on with that Darkhold storyline, so I'll follow up on that in a second. But when she's blasting Thanos, for instance, or when she's giving Iron Man visions in Age of Ultron, when she's flying, or when she's controlling people's minds, using all these seemingly different types of powers, really she's doing the same thing. She's weaving spells, harnessing the energy of spells like Doctor Strange. The difference is where her magic comes from and how that magic works differently from other people's magic in the MCU, like Doctor Strange's magic. So the way they explain magic in the MCU is that normal types of magic, like the type that Doctor Strange uses to power his spells, or the dark magic from Dormammu's dimension that Caecilius was using, or even Agatha Harkness's magic, which is another different type of magic from the dark magic or Doctor Strange's magic, those all come with a cost. Magic always comes with a cost. They kind of explain that during the Doctor Strange movie when he starts studying with the Ancient One. It's a fundamental truth within the Marvel Universe, but it's also a story way that writers use to balance power levels so that things don't get out of control, the story doesn't go off the rails. The difference with Scarlet Witch, though, is that she uses chaos magic to power her spells, and the way that the WandaVision writers and Kevin Feige, the Marvel people, clarify this is that chaos magic is more powerful and more dangerous because it's magic that comes without a cost. Scarlet Witch is able to create new magic that didn't exist before, create new spells that didn't exist before. So whereas Doctor Strange has to read all these books in the library, and he's very good at it, one of his secret powers is school, basically, Scarlet Witch doesn't need to do any of that, but that ability to create new magic is also how she's able to alter reality, her reality warping powers, the way they talk about it in the comics. Same basic idea. They get a little technical with it during the WandaVision episodes where they say she's basically taking things that already exist and rearranging their molecules to create new things. The only time that's different is when she creates Billy and Tommy, because she didn't take other people's children and just reorganize their molecules to create two different kids. But it's in that idea that chaos magic is similar to the energy of the Infinity Stones, like they say during episode 4, cosmic background radiation, energy that was present at the Big Bang, the energy of pure creation. And as a result of the way chaos magic works, she doesn't need to use incantations to weave those spells. Like when she's using her abilities, giving people nightmares, or flying, or creating barriers, or projecting energy out of her hands, she's actually weaving spells to do that, but she didn't need to learn incantations. She didn't need to read those spells and learn them out of a book. She's like the ultimate make-it-up-as-you-go-along cosmic being in the MCU now. But it's all a result of her being upgraded by the Infinity Stone. She wasn't always that powerful. That's also part of the Darkhold prophecy. Like, she always had chaos magic in her, like when she was a little girl, she was weaving a complex hex spell without even thinking about it. That's how she was able to stop that Stark Tech bomb from exploding. It's just that the Mind Stone gave her way more bandwidth to access that power, like going from dial-up internet to gigabit internet. The bigger the spell, the more access to chaos magic that she needs, so she wouldn't have been able to create the Hex when she was a little girl before coming into contact with the Infinity Stones. The reason why Agatha Harkness is so worried during the finale, why she says this is a bad thing, her becoming the full version of the Scarlet Witch, goes hand in hand with that Darkhold prophecy about her destroying the world, and the idea of Scarlet Witch as a dark character, a villain, quote-unquote, so to speak. Teyonah Parris, the actress who plays Monica Rambeau, actually talked about that during this bonus episode.
Sometimes you feel like, well, Wanda's the bad. She's the villain. She has turned all of these people's lives upside down. She's the villain.
She's not wrong. Wanda is kind of a villain during some parts of this series, but obviously they try to provide more context for why this is happening. Oh, she didn't mean to do it this way at the beginning. She doesn't mean to hurt these people. But she finds out that she's basically torturing these people, and it continues on for a little while after she learns that. And when she takes off at the end, she never apologized to them. The writers said that that was intentional. They wanted her to feel like a dark anti-hero type of character, and that'll continue into the events of Doctor Strange too. So now a lot of people have asked, does that mean she's going to be a backdoor Loki-style villain in Doctor Strange 2? I think that's actually another misdirect. Like, there are so many misdirects and avenues that go nowhere during WandaVision. They said that that was on purpose too. I just did a video for all the deleted scenes and clarifying what some of the hanging plot threads were, like some red herrings that were intentional red herrings meant to mislead you, with the WandaVision people never intending on completely answering all those questions. But I don't think that she's going to be a villain in Doctor Strange 2. Like, she didn't maliciously kill all those people during Captain America Civil War out of spite. Like, oops, accident, like the commercial for the red stain. That was what that commercial was all about. Early prediction is going to be a similar situation in Doctor Strange 2 as what was happening during WandaVision with the Hex, where we see her reading from the Darkhold in the post-credit scene, learning about the multiverse and the fact that she's a Nexus being, per the show's explainer. The Nexus to all realities of the MCU, the multiverse of the MCU. She'll use the Darkhold's knowledge to look for Billy and Tommy across time, space, and the multiverse, other dimensions, and in opening all those doors of the multiverse, so to speak, really becoming a Nexus for the multiverse, That's how she'll allow the main villain to enter the MCU reality and start wreaking real havoc and chaos. So chaos magic, chaos coming to the MCU. I've talked about how Chthon is the person in the comics, at least, who gave Scarlet Witch her chaos magic powers when she was born, and he wrote the Darkhold in the Wundagore Mountains, where it kind of seems like Wanda is right now, and he's the source of all chaos magic in Marvel Comics. So they might be setting up a version of his character in the MCU, but we'll see how they try to tie all these plot threads and teasers together in Doctor Strange 2. But talking about the Evan Peters Quicksilver twist, with them bringing him on to be this really misdirect Ralph Bohner-style character. In all the interviews that Evan Peters has been doing since he debuted on the series, he's talked about how he would love to come back into the MCU, so they do kind of leave the back door open for him to return as a version of Quicksilver from the multiverse and fully pay off or fully deliver on the idea of Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men films coming to the MCU. And per that clip of Elizabeth Olsen that I put at the beginning of this, when she said she signed on to the WandaVision series, she hoped that it would be a jumping off point for more future Marvel stories, multiple Scarlet Witch stories. That's basically her saying that Scarlet Witch will appear in other future movies and Disney Plus series after Doctor Strange 2. Like, that's not going to be the last time you see her in the MCU. Right now, just based on how powerful she is, of course, I think she'll come back in Avengers 5 when they're ready to make that movie in a couple years. But also, we have the idea of adult Billy and Tommy, Wiccan and Speed, coming back for full-blown Young Avengers types of stories in the future. Anytime they come back to the MCU in future projects, Scarlet Witch would also be a logical cameo character during those stories. And of course, the newer rebooted MCU version of the X-Men movies that they're currently working on. She's a huge character during all those X-Men stories. It'd only be natural to include her in some of the new X-Men movies in some way as well. But just talking about Magneto Easter eggs, doesn't her costume look like it's inspired by X-Men Magneto's costume during those films? There's a way that they can pay that off in future movies. But everyone post all your theories in the comments below. What'll happen next though is there's a whole bunch of new Falcon and Winter Soldier footage that just dropped, so I'll do a video for all of that. My full Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 1 video will post next Friday just like normal. All those videos will be on the same schedule as all my WandaVision episodes. New episodes every single Friday. While you wait for everything, click here for my video on the WandaVision alternate ending and all those deleted scenes with Evan Peters' Quicksilver character, and click here for that brand new Falcon and Winter Soldier trailer. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe. I'll see you guys tonight.